Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour podcast.
Yes, hello, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Welcome to episode 224. Glad to be here. Glad to have you. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Well, Chambers, the people might have noticed. Once again, we're separated. It's not because you're trying to give me the coof again. It's, we just got done a fantasy draft, and I didn't do one last year, and you know what? I gotta say, I didn't miss not doing it, but it did make football a little more boring.
Oh, yeah.
Like, other than watching the Eagles, I had zero interest, so really it was just the Eagles. So for me to watch any other games, there's no point. But now, doing it again this year, and how you feeling about your picks, Chambers?
Yeah.
I feel like you say that every year.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked away from a draft going, yeah, that was solid?
I actually had a Facebook memory come up from like 11 years ago from one of our leagues, I think. And I walked away from that one being like, oh, yeah, this is a kick-ass team right here. And I was like second to worst in the whole goddamn league. So, doesn't matter. There's no skill. Fuck you with your skill. And you're drafting fucking all your stats and your experts. It doesn't matter.
No,
Someone
that
gets hurt,
shit
doesn't
definitely
matter.
doesn't. Yeah, that shit never matters.
Did you draft the rookie that gets hot? Did you draft the one rookie that becomes the star? That's what always happens.
Yeah, of course. And it's also, like you said, injuries first week that can just tank someone's first pick. I do believe the only strategy I would say is, even in this one, there's always that one guy that, like, I feel way too early starts dipping into the QBs, the tight ends, the things you're like, I know what you're trying to do, but you're like, man, you just gave up the need for a running back so bad.
I like the one guy who drafted like Justin Tucker in like the 6th or 7th round, and even the app yelled at him.
Yeah, it
literally went, what?
There's that. There are those, and Chambers, you and I are up against each other in the first week.
Oh, good.
Do you want to know what the matchup is saying right now, James?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm fucking. Let's see. Oh, Jesus. I mean, it's all right. It's 53-47. It's not that bad.
Yeah, but what's interesting is I looked at the rest of the league, and they're showing me as the highest point maker in the league, which I was kind of surprised about. Because don't get me wrong.
I'm third? What? How? I don't even like my team.
I feel like I have a good team. I feel pretty solid. But, yeah, as point leader, I'm like, I don't know about that. But we'll see. We'll see what comes out. The real important thing is I beat you. That's all that matters.
Wait. Matty K's number one. Oh, get out of here.
No, I'm number one. I'm projected to get 159 points.
Oh, wait, no, I was just looking at the waivers.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, I'll figure it out later. Whatever. I'm new to this app. I've never been on a Sleeper app before.
Yeah, me neither. When he sent that over, I was like, I don't know what this is.
What the fuck is Sleeper? Just
but
do
no.
ESPN like a normal person.
So, yeah, we decided it'd just be easier. Do the draft and then do this virtually. So, Chambers, what you drinking tonight? I see your background hasn't changed much. How's the game room coming?
I'll tell you how the game room's going, Brian. The game room's going in a surprise $10,000 bill for a new broiler for the house. So that's how my game room's going.
What? What the fuck happened?
I had to get some radiators moved anyway and some other plumbing work done. So when he's there, he's like, yeah, there's no way this thing makes it through to winter. And we're just like, just do it.
Jesus Christ. Damn it. You should just go get a new house.
Hey, Brian, you ever seen a movie called The Money Pit?
I sure did, Jim. I sure did.
It's like Office Space. It's a documentary.
Well, Chambers, what are you drinking to take that pain away? I am sorry to hear that.
Just Old Faithful, Brian. Just good old Keystone. Needed to numb the pain.
I mean, like you said, if it's any consolation, I'm doing the same exact thing in my house.
Oh, yeah, you're doing a shitload of work at yours.
I have the roof of my garage being fixed in 2 days. Then my full HVAC's being replaced. then we're signing papers tomorrow so we can do an addition to the house. So, yeah, good times, Chambers. Eventually, this background will change because it'll be in a different spot. Probably a while's off, but yeah, it's like between you and me over the next year. There's a lot of changing pieces, Jim.
Brian, the real question though, whose background's going to change first? Who's going to be finalized first? That's the real question.
Jim, there's no, just like I've gone and beaten Tetris 99 multiple times and you still haven't. If I am somehow moved into my next space and have it all completed, that's bad. You got at least a year. So if you're not done in a year, you got bigger problems, Jim.
I don't know, Brian. Let's just say there's a surprise around every turn. Every day's a blessing.
Well, Jim, speaking of surprises, I decided I went a couple days early and I started my first Oktoberfest beer, one I haven't tried. The Double Nickel Brewing Company's Weltgeist Fest Beer, style pale lager, 5.6%. This is from Pennsauken, New Jersey. I know, I feel like we've had Double Nickel before.
We've had Double Nickel before. I forget which ones we've had, but we've definitely had them before.
Yeah. So the can is that atypical blue checker, a nice little symbol of the beer itself. I love the aesthetic. Absolutely no writing on it. So, yeah. Prost. I'm just dipping right in before. I said my go-to tradition is that the first Eagles game is when I have my first pumpkin beer. So, when's the first game? Is it the second week of September?
It's coming up
It's
soon.
not this weekend.
No.
So, I think it's the following.
No, because I've at least 2 drafts next week. I'm doing 3 fantasy leagues this year. So.
Oh, you're fucking insane, Jim. No. 2 was where I maxed out. And even then, one of the leagues would always suffer where I just would not care.
I've before done like 2 or 3 football leagues and then did like a fantasy hockey. Like if you ever dip your toes into fantasy hockey or baseball or like basketball, like the daily grind of those, dude, I can do 10 fucking football leagues. That ain't shit.
But isn't that like I said? Fantasy football increases.
Right. It's like the rotisserie thing from TV. Just set it and forget it. Doesn't matter. Once a week, who cares? Got any injuries? No injuries? Ah.
But Jim, what if you lose all 3 leagues?
It's happened before. Those are very sad Jimmy Mondays.
As if you don't have enough things to make you angry. Speaking of, how you doing on Tetris 99?
Haven't played a goddamn game. Didn't play a single video game this past week.
Nothing?
Didn't touch nothing.
That sucks.
Yeah. Going great.
Well, I've done a lot more Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I still like it. I guess there's something I do appreciate now about a balanced game versus an unbalanced game. And I think in general, most people, the obvious answer is no, I want balance. But I don't think you do if you want maximum fun. Sometimes it's like, it is fun to just get an unbalanced like situation where like you win too fast. Dying too fast sucks for sure. But I really am still enjoying it. And it seems like the community is still really enjoying it. It hasn't died off already, which is good. So, yeah, it's got a lot of player base, which is nice because there's like no waiting time in the lobby. But still enjoying the shit out of it. But Chambers, you should be proud of me. I'm back doing Ocarina.
Really?
Finally. So I just I did the what the fuck is it called? The Dongo.
Oh, the Dongo's Cavern.
Yeah, I did that.
All right.
And then
Second
I'm
dungeon.
on my way to the Spirit Temple or whatever. Like I got the stone and it says go to the Spirit Temple. So
okay.
What I'm doing in between is part of my OCD, which is I do want a couple more health parts. So I'm not, here's the deal. I am absolutely not doing a single one of those goddamn market games like the bowling or the shooting because I hate those and I don't think they control well. I'm just doing shit where it's like, I know if I just put a bomb near this wall and I go in, I'll collect something. So I'm doing the very low-hanging fruit of that shit. I'm definitely not doing all of it. I still have no idea what the fuck those gold spider masks are for.
Oh, the gold Scotellas?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just a thing to collect. I won't ruin it for you, Brian.
I'm not going to get them all, so is there a point to get them?
Oh, no, it's not worth doing it. It's just
okay.
No, it gives you like a bigger rupee bag. That's all it is. And by the time you like really get it, unless like you know where to do it and you do it early enough, it's not going to benefit. It's like in Super Mario 64 where like everyone gets the rest of the stars by the end game. And then like you go to the top of the castle and you see Yoshi and he's like, oh, here's 99 lives. And you go, thanks. I just got done doing everything in the game. I don't need this. It's kind of like that.
The only thing, the rupee bag, I actually would like an upgrade. Is that the only way to get an upgrade for the bag?
No. You get a couple during the course of the game.
Okay, because I already have come to a few shops. I max out my rupees at 99 all the time, and I'm like, these things cost 200. What the fuck? I'm like, I could still be collecting. What the hell?
Yep.
So, no, I'm going through it, Chambers. I'm now committing myself. So
good. Finally.
We'll see. Yeah, I'll save my opinions as I'm a little bit deeper. I'll just say that.
Brian, you're having a banner year with the N64, aren't you?
I just want to burn it all, Jim. Just want to burn it all.
Before we get going, quick little gaming or page news. Bonus episode will be recorded this Wednesday. So bonus beers, Nerdy Nick, this Wednesday. It's happening.
Yep, and we're going to be reviewing Problem Child, which I forget who requested that one.
I believe it was JD Means.
Yep, and then, oh boy, is the one after that the real treat, which I don't want to spoil right now. But it's
can't wait, because I've never seen it. I've heard things.
I haven't either. I've heard about it. So we'll see. But Chambers, real question is, that would not be available if it wasn't for our awesome patrons, which we appreciate so much. So what questions do we have this week for the podcast?
Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question and we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. First up, from Spaghetti. Let's say, hypothetically, I only have... Should I just say this like Ben Shapiro? Let's say, hypothetically, I only have 9 games done for my 23. What are some actually good games that are on the shorter side? No Snoopy puzzle games.
Yeah, Jim. So none of your suggestions is what he's saying. Man, 9... I know Jim and I said we're low. What are you up to, Jim?
I'm at like 14, I think.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty far along.
Yeah, like I'm just assuming in the late part of the year, I'm just going to blast through a shitload to hit that 23.
I mean, the easiest, if you want quality, fun games, I would say do arcade games like on the MAME. Like fun beat-em-ups, if you like that style.
The MAME. You fucking boomer. I'm going onto Facebook.
Yeah, do the MAME. Jim, what's wrong with the MAME?
Oh, there's things wrong, Brian.
But outside of that, I would recommend, if you like horror games and you can stand it, the puppet combo games. However, what apparently I've noticed is when I've watched other people play them, they have a really hard time with them and get really stuck, and it might end up taking you longer. I think I usually average 2 hours to 3 hours a game, but I'm kind of used to them by now. If you don't know what you're doing, I guess they could go on for a while. Outside of that, like I'm trying to think of what's a good short game. Because for us, Jim and I think if we hit a game that's like 8 hours or under, we're amazed. Like usually most games are pretty long.
Yeah.
And I'm not counting any bullshit Game Boy games, so you can just throw that shit out the window. So what do you got for them, Chambers?
Well, one you already did, and one that's on my list to do this year, Luigi's Mansion, because that's only like, what, 4 hours? Something like that?
I think it's a little bit longer, but no, that's a great short game. Yeah.
I mean, if you're one of the only people in the world who hasn't done it yet, like Shredder's Revenge, you can beat that in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the new Double Dragon, like, throwback beat 'em up came out. I'm not hearing, like, amazing things about it, but, I mean, that's probably a shortish game, probably like an hour to 2 hours again. So, you know, any of the modern, like, reboot beat 'em ups will be good for you. Obviously, shoot 'em ups, you know, whatever you want to make as a beat it out of that for yourself. Like, you can't do any Metroidvanias because they're always, you know, minimum 10 hours if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe like some throwback throwback platformers, even like like Freedom Planet, something like that, like the throwback to Sonic games. Like that's a couple-hour game. Yeah, a lot of independent shit. Just stick with the indies. AAA stuff, you're probably gonna be out of luck for short and quality.
The only thing I would say is if you happen to be someone who never got a chance to go through the classic beat 'em ups on even the Genesis or Super NES, those are all short, and you can blast through them pretty easily. So, yeah, I think beat 'em up and shoot 'em up are your best for short as far as like timetable, but quality is going to be really the eye of the beholder. But yeah, no. Good luck. I mean, if you don't get to 23, don't feel bad. Jim and I think we're probably going to just tip over the finish line. Well, Jim will do like, 4 or 5 more bullshit Snoopy games. Or
I'm going to find all the Snoopy games.
You son of a bitch. But good question. Thank you, bud.
150 levels. Don't you besmirch. Next up from Todd Howard Sucks. Starfield is a week out. Any new thoughts on it with all the leaks happening?
I'm definitely going to be day one playing that shit, buying it. I've said before, Bethesda doesn't miss. I've pulled a U where I'm trying not to see anything about, like, other than when they released a lot of info, whatever that last, maybe it was the Xbox showcase.
Yeah.
I purposely not watch shit on it because I want to go in there really new. I do know shit's been leaked, but I haven't looked at any of it. So, Chambers, have you seen what's been getting leaked?
No. Actually, you know what? I know so little about this game for how big and how much hype there is behind it. Like, I really barely know anything. I haven't looked in anything because I just know, like, I don't know when I'm ever going to get around to it. So I'm not even, like, trying to, like, hype myself up or FOMO myself. I'm just like, you know what? I know it's not happening. So maybe eventually, I don't know when, but I'll let the peanut gallery, let them see how they feel, and then maybe I'll dabble.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's my big, I said that and Mortal Kombat are my big ones I'm excited for this year. That will be new that I'll definitely play.
What was it, Tekken or Soul Calibur? Which one got pushed to 2024? They ruined their year, Bri.
It had to have been Tekken, because I think Tekken was the other one.
It was Tekken. That was right, yeah.
Not shocking. I mean, I'm actually waiting for Starfield to get a last-minute pushback, because I feel like it was delayed so often, but I think it comes out next week, so I'm sure they would have announced it by now.
That's what you were saying. Did you, like, hear anything about that? What is that called? Sea of Stars or something? Like, apparently It's getting, like, rave reviews across the board, and everyone's, like, beating off to it. I didn't even hear of it until, like, 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's
apparently it was like a Kickstarter game. It's like a Chrono Trigger throwback, so obviously it was off my radar, I guess.
So I talked about this on the episode I did by myself of games that were coming out in August, and I said it looks cool, but it's a JRPG I'll never get into. It looks like a higher def 2.5-ish JRPG. So it looks cool. I'll never play it.
Is it copying that, like, Octopath Traveler graphics, or?
Not fully, but think going in that direction.
All right.
So it looks really cool. I'm never going to play it. And I feel like everyone beats off to the latest JRPG. So I have no faith that it's that amazing, but it could be. I don't know.
And how. Right. What they should be beating off to is sexual instructional videos, courtesy of the Philips CDI on this week's Krusty Corner segment. Link will be somewhere. Brian, for the love of God, start putting the links into the descriptions for the other things. But yes, head on over to Patreon. $1 a month. You can get your bonus segment for every single podcast, unless we don't get around to it like last week.
Jim, play more sex games.
Brian. Yes.
Damn it. You son of a bitch.
Still got to get around to playing sex with Hitler. Still got to get around to that.
It's okay. You can let that one go.
Can I, Bri?
You can.
Can I?
You can. You son of a bitch. So is that the last question for this week, Chambers?
Nope. But one last up from Burn Retinas. Might have been asked before, but what is your favorite console startup screen? I think I'm a GameCube boy. I think I got to go GameCube.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty... I think of the Nintendo, that's the most animated. You know what? I gotta go with the classic PlayStation. The nostalgia I have of getting that Christmas morning and just that noise, that doo doo doo,
that echoing thing as the logo fades in.
Yeah, it's super like that was the first time I felt like this is like a home entertainment thing, like not just a video game console. And that sound still gets me to this day. So just because of pure nostalgia, not because of how cool it looks or sounds, I got to go with that.
Yep, solid choice. Oh, God. Going to my friend's house and popping that in and hearing that sound, I was like, whoa. That like felt like the future back then.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But yes, that wraps up the Patreon questions for this week. So once again, thank you to everyone out there for the support. We really appreciate it. And if you're new to the podcast, whether you're on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, head on over to the others. Sub to us everywhere. Leave some reviews. Helps out the page.
Appreciate it, everyone. And yeah, make sure you hit the subscription just so you see when we post our latest reviews. All right, Chambers. So we've been doing a lot of follow-ups in the beer world. And thank God for once, we're not talking about Bud Light or anything like that. We're talking about a callback to, remember when Cape May was going to buy Flying Fish?
Yep.
Which kind of shocked us because we said we knew Cape May was big, but I thought Flying Fish was bigger. And
they are older.
What's happening now with the Chambers?
Well, Brian, it ain't happening. And, well, actually, funny enough, the news of it not happening, like the deal's dead, apparently, fell through. Yeah. After doing more research, basically, they said they're like, yeah, we're not doing this. So this came out, I guess, back in like June, and it just completely like blew by us. I guess we were, too busy talking about goddamn Bud Light. But yeah, one of the biggest beer acquisitions in all of Jersey and the East Coast.
I mean, it would have...
Right, Daddy's got a quick bitch over here. So every fucking goddamn beer site, like I was looking for so the article below is from 97.3 ESPN South Jersey. So I was like, okay, that's random. So I tried to click through all these other beer blogs and beer sites, and every one of them thinks they're the New York goddamn Times, and they want you to have a subscription or sign up for a mailing list.
I saw that too.
Fuck yourself. Who do you think you are? That would be like if we did it.
It's just also who actually is like reading that and truly subscribing on a daily basis to that. I don't know. I don't get that. I was equally as frustrated. I'll give you that, Jim. I'll just say that. I was equally as frustrated, but no, this is big because we said you had the two biggest New Jersey breweries, which we're going to combine into one. Yeah, so it's just going to be business as usual. We've said before, Flying Fish, not our particular cup of tea. Not saying they're bad, just nothing ever impressed me that much.
It's bad.
Cape May I like a little more, and that is the new hot girl of New Jersey in terms of breweries.
Also fan. Cape May's, I've never hated anything from Cape May, but it's never impressed me.
Yeah.
That's the place where like anytime we go down the shore, everyone's always like, oh, let's go to Cape May Brewery. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just like Jersey, it's always second best to anything in PA.
Nah.
Just like their breweries. I mean,
it's true. What can you say?
You know what? I'll give it to them. They have good blueberries. They got good blueberries, Jim. I'll give it to them.
Gotta have something.
But no, that is a nice little follow-up. So good job, Chambers.
Yay.
That back. All right, Chambers. So also speaking about acquisitions, there's been a little caveat to the Microsoft purchase of Activision. In one of the weirdest goddamn twists I've ever seen, why don't you explain what's going on with this merger now?
So Microsoft, as we have been reporting, right, because we're Journo boys over here now. But, yeah, so the big bitch has always been from the UK and from their CMA saying their biggest kerfuffle is about, monopolies.
Don't say kerfuffle, but go on.
I'll think of another one. But yeah, about cloud gaming and basically being the monopolizing of it. So Microsoft is apparently going to sell their cloud gaming rights to Activision Blizzard or to Ubisoft as part of this deal. So yeah, that seems.
It sounds like money laundering, but in digital terms for video games.
But like it's kind of crazy because I guess like Microsoft already kind of has their own thing through like Windows for cloud streaming, so it's not the biggest hit in the world, but it still also seems like are they this desperate for the merger? Because it seems like right now cloud gaming's in its infancy, no one really cares that much. But given the way everything's going, like it probably will be the future in 10, 15 years.
Oh, absolutely. But what's interesting is, as we've said, Microsoft has their own cloud streaming service. So basically, though, it kind of sounds like the distribution of the Activision games will happen through Ubisoft. So Activision will still own, Microsoft will still own Activision, but they'll have their shit streamed through this third party being Ubisoft.
Yeah. And yeah, so they're still not expecting the deal to be closed until early October at the earliest. The CMA has now imposed a final order on Microsoft's original deal, prohibiting it worldwide while investigates a new restructuring of the proposed acquisition. Ubisoft will be able, for a fee, to require Microsoft to adapt Activision's titles to the operating system other than Windows, such as Linux, if it decides to use or license out the cloud streaming rights to Activision's titles to a cloud gaming service that runs on a non-Windows operating system. So yeah, it's like a weird end around. It's almost it's just does it even mean that much? Because they still it's like, all right, like Ubisoft gets a cut of it, and now Ubisoft like jumps up in like the overall market. It's like one of the bigger cloud gaming things out there now. It's weird.
But the thing is, I think the way I've read it is Ubisoft will be paying the fee to have Microsoft. So Ubisoft's the way they're getting paid is now they're going to be offering these games through their service as kind of the go-between between Microsoft and PlayStation and their shit. They're the ones I guess can play in both sandboxes, and they're bringing the product from Microsoft over through their shit. So they got to pay to bring that shit from Microsoft to them. But this way it kind of ensures that no matter what, this shit from Activision will be continue to be streamed everywhere. Like you said, it's a workaround. It's a very, very odd, okay, sure.
It's like, at least, for the cloud side, like they turned Ubisoft into like a shell company.
Yeah, it's a prostitute.
You know what it is? It's that weird vacuum store that you always see in a strip mall. It's never open. No one ever goes in there. All the windows are covered up, so you don't even know if it's open or closed or not. But it's there for 30 years. It serves a purpose.
Zenkoff.
What's the purpose? Might not be vacuums, but it serves a purpose.
It's just like UK. You lost, just like you did the big war. I mean, come on. What are you going to do? Stop bitching. Now this weird in-between of Ubisoft, which eventually Microsoft will probably just buy them too, which would be hilarious.
Hello, Governor.
But yeah, no, that's kind of the latest. As we said, the deal deadline is October 18th. So we're a month and a half away. We'll see if any other little caveats come out. But either way, the plan is still moving forward. They're going to purchase them. So here we are. We've only been talking about it for over a year.
Yeah, really.
I just want to see at this point what actually comes from it, But
yeah,
we'll see.
It always seems to be like this came out as usual, right after we recorded last week. And then it's kind of been quiet ever since. So, I don't know. Seems like we're getting closer to it to being a done deal. It's just, yeah.
There's always something, Jim. Just like you at the house. There's always something. There's always a boiler, right?
There's always a boiler. There's always, pulling out old appliances and realizing that your kitchen floor, they never replaced anything. They just kept building up.
On top of it? Yep.
Layers and layers and layers. So, good old non-handy Jimmy cutting plywood, trying to not kill himself, fucking just to put shit down there to make a level.
Oh, Chambers, why would you try to do that yourself?
It happened. It's done. The appliances are there. It's fine. It's good. It's wonderful.
Are you sure structurally it's okay, Jim?
It's fine. Perfect.
All of a sudden, he's in his game room. A fridge comes through.
I'm sure the fucking rotted wood underneath is going to be no better anyway. But
Chambers.
Daddy's going to be going into crawl space with a nail gun and more fucking planks one day. But Brian, I'm sure I found where the mice were coming from. So lucky me.
Well, hey, that is what we call a silver lining, Jim.
Yep. Get out the foam gun. I'm going to fucking town.
All right, Chambers. So, speaking of follow-backs, man, this should be called the follow-up podcast. You know what I mean. Shut up. So, that Sony's, the portable PlayStation that we talked about.
Project Q, Brian.
Yeah. Well, is it still called that?
No,
now?
it's got its official name. The PlayStation Portal.
PlayStation Portal, which, okay, whatever. Sticking with the P thing. It's PP now, Jim. Or
I don't have my pop guard here, so enjoy
actually,
that, people.
It's technically still a PSP, so.
Son of a bitch. You're right.
See what they did there, Jim?
Wow.
But no, a lot more details. I think last time we talked about this, there was just a shit ton of speculation. So a lot more details have come out about it. We now know the price. It's $200. We know that it will be able to stream PS5 games only over Wi-Fi, but that does not include the PS Network games. So that's really only games you own and that you can kind of stream. But once again, if you're not in Wi-Fi, you're shit out of luck. It will run at 1080p, 60 FPS. 200 sounded like a good price point, and then when I read that point of you have to be on Wi-Fi, you can't do the shit on the PS Network. I don't know.
There is one little silver lining, I guess. You don't have to be like on your Wi-Fi. So if you're at someone else's house or something like that, you can still log into your PlayStation as long as it's on and connected to the internet. So at least there's that. At least it's not like the Wii U and like tied to the system, a certain distance away or in the same network. So or like a Chromecast or something. So we have that at least.
It's something. Like I said, I do like the price point.
It uses the dual sense fucking haptic feedback and the dual motion shit. Of all the extra bullcrap that no one really uses that much, it's just going to drain the battery faster.
Yeah. And I mean, it will be significantly better ergonomically than the Switch. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I like $200 for what it is. That's fine. I think it would be way too overpriced for me. If they had the ability to stream your PS Network shit, and I keep calling it PS Network. What is it actually called? It's the
PlayStation Plus something or other.
If you could do that, then that's a no-brainer because that's a lot of games. So that's the biggest thing I think I have an issue with. But if you're someone and like PS5 and 4 are like your main go-to and you have like over 30 games or something for it, then maybe this is worth it. To be able to play those games on the go, I think would be really, really cool. It's just, how much do you actually play your PlayStation? So I think it actually will sell pretty decently, but it's not going to be anywhere near numbers I think they're hoping for.
I actually don't think it's going to sell decently because everyone I see is like looked at this and went, "What? What is this? You're charging this much for, this much, usability, that kind of deal." I hate to say it, but this is like exactly the device I need to get more use out of my goddamn PS5.
Well, that's the mindset I was going with, which is right now, guys like you and me, that portability and flexibility to play wherever kind of take paramount.
Kids want the TV? Fine. Have the TV. I'll sit here with this. It's what I've done for 5 years with my Switch. Like, I'm the guy who plays it mostly undocked.
Yeah. Except
so, yeah, this is actually...
do it the one place where it was built for, the toilet.
Right. I don't need to get my little farticles all over it, okay?
That's not a thing. Didn't you ever watch Mythbusters, idiot?
Oh, they're full of bullshit. Happen.
Unless you're just, like, muck spraying like a goddamn hippo when you go in there. There's not shit going everywhere.
Them,
You're fine.
them and their freaking they don't know nothing. They don't bust nothings.
Damn it, Jim. But
All
no,
phonies. Do you trust that
see,
beard? I don't trust that beard.
I'm with you. I think this is a good idea, and even if other people, the nerdiest of nerds, are saying this is not whatever, it's not meant for them. It is meant for people like you and me who probably. I still, in my heart of heart, believes there's a certain percentage of people who have PS4s and PS5s as their primary Blu-ray player. And if you also happen to game, and like you said, you have family and you have kids and the TV's being used, whatever. Especially guys that like play sports games, which I think is probably a very large majority of PlayStation guys.
Oh yeah.
Now they'll go out back or do whatever, like you said, and just do that. Yeah. That $200, that doesn't break the bank for most people. Okay, if this is your main go-to thing that you enjoy doing, that's fine. If this had been $250 or $300, I'd be like, ooh.
Oh yeah, like if this was $150, it would be a must-buy. 200's like it's skirting that line where I'm going, still worth it in my, for a guy like me, but still, it's gonna push away people. $250 would have just been a no-go for anyone. So.
If I can ever get one for $150, I myself will buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because I don't have the catalog, I think I have 6 PS5 games.
Yeah, I don't have a ton.
12 PS4 games. Like, I don't have a ton of them. So if they ever, it would be a must buy for me once again if they had the PS Plus shit on there. Then I would do it. But yeah, no, that's I don't know.
And who knows? Maybe that could be added later. You never know.
That's kind of what I'm banking on, is maybe they figure it out. I don't know how they don't figure it out, but figure it out. Come on.
Yep. So while that's definitely not overpriced, right? You want to talk overpriced? Let's talk about our dear friends at Atari, Brian. Your favorites.
Okay.
You're always sitting here talking about how much you love Atari, how much you wish you could play your Atari carts on a real TV. Now's your chance, Brian.
Jim, this might shock you. I don't hate this.
Really?
I know. Here's the deal. So the Atari 2600 Plus, which allows you to play all your 2600 and 7800 games.
With a few compatibility issues. There's a few.
What is the compatibility issues?
Some game, because it was the Wild West and how they program games were just all fucky. I know there's a handful of games that won't work. The biggest one of them being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So if you spend the $300 on a card of that, you're not gonna be able to play it on your fancy new Atari.
Yeah, but if you spend $300 on that, this system is not meant for you. Let's be honest. Anyone who buys that game is one of two things: an insane horror nerd like me, and you probably just want it for the clout of I have it.
Right, buy it.
I would if there was a goddamn reasonable price. How much was that Halloween when we were at Too Many Games?
Oh fuck, that was up there too.
Was it 1,000? Because I remember it was in the case. It was that one where there was some shit that you couldn't believe how high the price was.
Oh yeah. I could probably look up the picture, but yeah, that was ridiculous.
But what I like about this, hear me out, is that okay, so you can play 2600, 7800. You have HDMI,
which is
output.
actually really, really cool. The original 7800 could do that, but the fact they went that extra mile, that's cool.
Widescreen mode, and the system looks for the argument, I'll say exactly like the original 2600 with a little bit of modification. What I like about this is the thing that stops me from collecting for Atari 2600 is I don't want to get a system that's a dud. And for $129.99, it's not cheap, but it's also you could honestly get this, and it comes with a 10-in-1 game cartridge, which includes it just says I didn't see all 10 games. Oh wait, here it is. So it's Adventure, Combat, Dodge 'em, Haunted House, Maze Craze, Missile Command, Real Sports Volleyball, Surround, Video Pinball, and Yar's Revenge.
That's actually a solid lineup.
It's a good lineup. And let's say you take another $50, you could probably build a pretty solid collection right there. And if you did want to get classic games, if you like the Atari, this wouldn't, I think, be the worst option. Versus if you had the original system, not many people are like me and you, where we still have a random tube TV. Then you got to figure out converter. Like, it's probably a fucking nightmare for anyone in the modern age to try and do it. So
that's a pain in the balls.
Yeah. So if this works well, like you said, if there's some snags with certain games, that sucks. But for the more casual market, it maintains that same kind of general aesthetic and look, and add in the 7800 compatibility, $129. That's not the worst price in the world. So I don't hate it. That's someone who hates Atari shit. So
yeah, like I kind of do want it, but part of me is like, am I really gonna pay $130 and get my $130 worth out of an Atari? I know I wouldn't.
You have a pretty decent collection.
I do have a good sized collection, and maybe if I had a real easy way to play it like this, I'd play them more. Because to play them is a hassle. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. Like it's a pain in the balls to get to work. So maybe I think if it was if it was like 100, I'd be like, all right, I'll hop all over this. Like I think there's like a thing in my brain where I'm like paying more than $100 for any Atari. Like get the fuck out of here.
What were all the old flashback systems? Were they like $80, $70, $50? They were somewhere in that range, right?
It kind of depends. Like the older ones, I think we're around like the 50 to 60 range. I know. Actually, shit, man, this is another good argument for this thing. Because the later flashbacks that were, HDMI ready and crap like that, like they don't have cartridge slots. But, they have all the preloaded games, but those could be running up, over $100. So...
That's what I'm saying. If you are someone like you, like this actually I feel like could be a selling point for you, that if you have a collection, because really, when do you... I know you have a setup, but like when you go to set up your stuff, are you really going to set up the slot for your Atari and set it, like go through all that shit?
Oh, I mean, on my my gaming TV, I just kept, that's the only coax connection I had, so that was always just hooked up and ready to go.
Yeah.
And my TV's,
get rid of that.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, I mean kinda. Yeah, then if this TV dies, then I either gotta use my little tube TV, which is fine, or I gotta fucking put it through my retro tank in order to get to play.
Yeah. I mean,
and which means I have to hook it up to a VCR so I can get composite out to put it into the retro tank, so it's
too much work.
Whole thing.
When you gotta go past 2 steps for a game that are Atari games at the end of the day versus a system. This is something, honestly, you could tell the in-laws, you could tell your wife, like, if you're looking for a random Christmas gift to get you, you'd enjoy it. Like, it wouldn't be, like, wasted on you.
It would not be a waste, no.
Yeah, so I like that it's out there. I think it's better than all these horseshit things that we've been covering. These systems that are trying to create something new and be compatible with everything, and then they never come out, and they've been back for 20 years, like all this shit. Like, cool, this is very, very niche. You got your collection, maybe you want to start collecting for it. I still feel like Atari games in general are pretty damn cheap every time I've gone out and seen.
Oh, for the most part, yeah. There is very few exceptions, and actually the fact that it comes with Haunted House,
that's awesome.
That's probably, depending on condition, a $10 to $20 game. It's one that people, go after a little more than most. So that's cool that that's part of that game that comes with it.
So, you know what? I like it.
And actually, I'm tempted for that, what do you call it? They have a 4-in-1 cart that comes with not the trackball controller. God damn it, I can't think right now. The paddle ball controllers. Controllers. And, that's $40, but those paddle controllers are, the most... They are prone to fail probably as much as 5200 controllers. If you find them anywhere, they're probably not going to work. So to get a brand new one with some games with it, and I wasn't in love with the game selection, but still it's not kind of worth it alone just to have reliable paddle controllers.
I don't know. To me,
shit, I might get this.
Get it, dude.
I might do it. Buy Atari Extravaganza for the page.
Honestly, I would consider getting it because, with my son getting into gaming, granted, he now likes Minecraft and all that shit. I could sit there and play this shit with him, introduce him to it.
You can be like, hey, let's play Breakout. He's going to play for 5 minutes and be like, gay.
Jim, I mean, the last time you and I played Atari together on the old system, I whooped your ass in like 10 games in a row. So
We only played Warlords. It was just Warlords.
no, we did. We did a couple of the other ones.
Nah, it didn't happen.
It did.
I don't remember anything.
But no, I do like this. It's not like the next product, Jim, which is complete horse shit, which is another
Breaking
company.
news as of today.
Another company just like Limited Run. Why don't you talk about Analogue, Jim?
Right, our dear, sweet friends over at Analogue. So their most recent product, which really everyone seems to love, and it's one that, like, you know me with the Game Boy. Like, I love me playing some Game Boy. So the Analogue Pocket, they made an announcement today. The Analogue Pocket, glow in the dark, available in highly limited qualities, or quantities, like fucking everything from Analogue. $250, which is, I think, the cost of a regular Analogue Pocket as is, so no markup. On sale September 1st. Shipping date September 5th. And you think to yourself, wow, that's pretty awesome. But Bri, there's a little snaggly waggly. There's a little snafu in this whole thing. A little fly in the ointment. A little fly in the soup, Brian. There are people who pre-ordered the original Analogue Pocket over a year ago who have still not gotten their Analogue Pockets.
Some would say that this is another terrible company.
Brian, the gamers might be a little mad about this, Brian.
As well they should be. Once again, that's why I'm saying it reminds me of a certain Limited Run. And regardless of the quality of the Pocket, that's another one where it's, okay, it plays a lot of things. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Maybe it's overpriced. Maybe go fuck yourself. But to drop this limited edition collectors glow-in-the-dark horse shit, which you know now is just going to be scalped to no end and upcharged to no end, when the original system that, as you said, people have been waiting over a year, some people haven't even got, is ridiculous. Now, what I love about this is they had to make that, like, additional comments right after, like, they post this. I think they got blasted, and they're like, hey, 99.9% of all Pocket pre-orders have shipped. Shipped where? Is it actually shipped out? Because I don't believe that people would be as mad if they knew the shit was on the way actively to their house. And then Pocket accessories are in stock and shipping now. Pocket black and white are now out of stock. So this just seems like a big, like, I don't know. It's a cash grab. I don't like it. Who the fuck needs a glow-in-the-dark thing for something that has a light on it? No, you don't. No, you don't.
I don't need it, but I like that. I like how weird it is. It's goofy.
But it's $250. Are you going to spend that?
No.
Because you don't have a very big Game Boy collection the last time I checked.
No, it's not super big. I probably have, like, because it plays Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games right out of the box. And then you can buy adapters to play, like, Game Gear and Neo Geo Pocket Color and shit like that. But yeah.
You know what else does that, Jim?
An emulator?
You know how much that costs, Jim?
Well, you can get a decent Anbernic or Miu for about 50 to 70 to between 50 and 100 buckaroonies.
Do you know how much most emulators cost, Jim?
Well, Bri, the emulator is free.
There you go.
And the ROMs are free too because, piracy's cool and fuck you.
Yeah, absolutely. What are we talking about here? Let's not pretend like anybody who emulates doesn't use ROMs that are just easily available and cool.
I don't believe in robbing the developers, Brian.
I don't either. That's why I don't do brand new. If you're over 15 years old, you're good. But I don't blame people for being mad. You know what this is, though? The shitty part is that they are doing this, like, limited edition thing when the original console's already limited edition because it's sold out. Have they made any announcements of, like, going to be making more of the original Pockets?
Not that I know of. And for the most part with their runs of shit, like, it's one and done. You might get 2 runs of it. And they always just kind of randomly drop it when they're going to have another run of something. Like, I think the Mega SG or NT randomly had, like, a second run, like, that just, like, kind of dropped out of nowhere.
I don't like it, Jim. I don't.
Yeah, I fucking hate Analog. Like, they just go, like, I know they like to pretend that they're, like, boutique, and, yeah, I guess for, like, clone consoles, they are, like, the highest quality ones out there. But there's no reason to FOMO people all the time like this. And it's on purpose, and everyone falls for it, and it gets scalped like crazy anyway, so good for you. You get your goddamn sales. Because they don't do anything to stop people from scalping. What's that?
How much was the original? It was $250.
Oh, God. Or, I mean, for the Pocket, yeah. I thought you meant, like, the original Analog product. Because that was when they, like, made it out of, like, real aluminum and, like, or, like, steel with, like, original NES parts. And it was, like, $5,000 or something, if I remember correctly. $2,500.
I'm just looking at the prices on eBay for people selling. What looks like they're fairly newly received, still in wrapping and everything. You know, you can get it for the low price of $450, or buy it now for $466.
Well, sign me the fuck up.
It's one of those things. No, just don't buy it. Don't support it. It's already sold out. The glow-in-the-dark shit, you're not going to be one of the ones that get the original, and if you're silly enough to pay for it, you're going to at least put out $500, is my guess.
Right, do it. Don't be a bitch.
I don't want it, Jim.
Don't be a bitch. Buy it.
Yeah, fair, Jim. You buy it, and I'll just steal it from your front thing. Then you report it as missing, and then you can get another one.
Haha.
See what I did there?
Right, cut the segment.
But Chambers, the crux of this episode, and the thing I'm most excited for, is something that we've been holding off for a couple weeks. You got me all excited. You put on a goddamn list. You know I like my list. And
right, we've had such busy news weeks. We couldn't even get to it.
We have, but the GQ magazine from, of course, the UK, makes sense when you read this list, put together the 100 greatest video games of all time. Ranked by who, Jim?
Experts. Which experts? Go fuck yourself. That's who.
The experts included, they invited 300 individuals to participate and received 239 lists, with an incredible 652 games receiving one vote or more. So basically, they sent out this thing.
Why would you report on having a good, like, almost a third not respond?
That's the part where I'm like, okay,
it's a weird start.
Pretty telling. But essentially, yeah, they said a game. So they said, give us a list, and the game in first receives 10 points, and then split up your points, everything else. And that's how they came up with this list. So, Jim, I got some notes on this. We're not going to cover every game. I have the link below. But broad strokes, what are some general comments you have? I mean, let's cut the turkey and first go to the top 10 games.
Okay, you know what? It has actually been a dog dig long time. Or here's one for you. They put Lost Guardian on here, which was a game. It was in the, 88? A game that was in development hell. Came out to kind of middling reviews. And, yeah, they have that on here. Kind of weird.
On. I have a shit ton of notes, but I first, like I said, let's go
to the top 10. I haven't looked at the top 10 in months.
So number 10, we got Half-Life 2. Fine.
Okay, fine.
Number 9, Dark Souls.
Fine.
Okay. Number 8, Portal 2. You're fucking
fine.
Insane.
Nope,
Doesn't
fine.
belong. Nope. Does not belong top 10 ever, 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 and that's why it's UK. Number 7, Metal Gear Solid.
Fine.
Number 6, Mass Effect 2.
Fine.
Fine in top 10. Number 5, Witcher 3. Makes sense. Number 4, Bloodborne. When you just had Dark Souls.
That's a little iffy, a little questionable.
While I do agree Bloodborne is the best From Software game, you see where I'm going, where I have an issue, where you have...
Right, I think there's little biases here.
Possibly. Number 3, Tetris. Absolutely fine with that.
Yep.
Number 2, The Last of Us. I really, really enjoy that game. I agree it needs to be in top 10. Number 1, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. forgetting the ranking, that game has to be in the top 10. I get it. The order, order never makes sense to me, but Chambers, let me run you through some of the issues I had with this list. And
yeah,
see
you're more familiar with it, so I want to hear.
Yeah.
Surprise me, Brian.
All right, so right off the bat, in a list of the 100 greatest games, you should not have 2 separate Sims games. And I'm talking The Sims, because I love...
two separate The Sims games, or just like maybe SimCity 2000 and The Sims?
2 separate The Sims. So
What?
they have The Sims 2.
Okay.
And The Sims.
What?
So they have The Sims 2 at number 63, and they have the original Sims at 41. That's an issue for me, because they are the same game, with one has more features than the first one.
Dude,
so you don't need to put it twice.
Sims 4 is the same game as Sims 1 with more features. What?
Exactly. And while I understand, if they had just put Sims 2, it would have made sense to me. But then when I scrolled down and saw the original Sims, I said, now you're duplicating effort. So that was No! I had an issue with that. So you were in agreement. That's pretty crazy, right?
Yes.
Okay. They had BioShock Infinite on here, which most people I've heard from...
Very divisive game now. Actually, most people just shit on that game now.
That's my point. Okay, I was a little shocked, but they also eventually have BioShock on here, which BioShock belongs on here. BioShock Infinite, especially if you already have BioShock, shouldn't be on the list at all. So I have an issue with that. Jim, guess how many Resident Evils are on here?
Well, Resident Evil 4 was in the picture for the article, so... But given your tone, I'm going to just say 1 and say Resident Evil 4.
That's correct, Jim. At number 11, Resident Evil 4. So you're seriously going to tell me Resident Evil... Of course, I have my bias for Resident Evil 1 Remake.
Okay, so Resi 2 Remake is not on here,
or
but
just
The Last
Resi
Guardian
2.
is on here.
Yeah. So, no Resis, fine. Jim, if you were to do a
Wait, what the fuck? Final Fantasy 14 around... Oh, Final Fantasy 14 around Reborn. Okay, that was when they redid it. All right, fine. I was almost about to scream. Like, I thought it was like a PSP port or some shit like that.
Jim... it says that Tetris is on here.
Yes.
Which you and I would agree belongs on here.
Yeah.
If you were thinking in the realm of that style game, what's another classic arcade, Atari, whatever game that should be on any top 100 list?
If Tetris is on there?
If a Tetris style game is on there, what's a game...
Because I see that Tetris Effect is also on here, which I didn't play it in VR, so I can't tell you. I think that's how everyone loves it.
I mean, I have an issue with that as well, but
you're not talking about comms or some shit, because comms sucks.
No. There's no Pac-Man.
Really?
No Miss Pac-Man. No Pac-Man whatsoever. Damn it, Jim. Which, if you're going to make a list of the 100 best games, you're going to tell me Firewatch gets on here, but no goddamn Pac-Man?
Right. Artsy fartsy. Gotta have Firewatch.
So I have an issue with that.
Is the Stanley Parable, is that on here, if Firewatch is there?
Oh, there's weird ones. I wish Stanley Parable compared to some of these other ones, Jim.
Wait, that's not on here? For how everyone beats off to that? I saw the Oberdeen ones on here.
Nope, no Stanley Parable. But you know what is on here, and it's just a wee bit too high for me. So I mentioned that number 11, you got Resident Evil 4. We just went through the top 10. Coming in at number 12, beating out The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time at number 13, is Disco Elysium.
I know people love that game. I've never played it.
I have played it, Jim.
Not a fan?
It's fine. If you like point and click, pages and pages of narrative, that's what you get with that game, Jim.
Oh, really? Is that what that is?
It's a point and click adventure where it's the isometric view of the guy. You take him around cities, and It's in a futuristic thing. He's a drunk. He's got amnesia. Da-da-da-da-da. Narrative is cool. I like it. But my God, you're putting it at number 12 of the 100 greatest games ever?
Wow,
Fuck off.
Destiny above God of War 2018. Wow.
Yep. Since they did so many repeat in the same franchise, what I am happy about is they got the original Doom on here. You don't throw a bone to the Doom remake. That's not on here.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, I'm surprised that Chrono Trigger is only in the 40s.
Yeah. Oh, let's just be clear. There's like almost every From Software game on here. So I think they have at least 2 or 3 Dark Souls. I think all 3 of them.
Look, Brian, at least What Remains of Edith Finch is on here. All right?
They don't get me started. Outer Wilds. A game that I felt like...
Did anyone even like that?
It came and went with very, very few... Like, it was so lost in the shuffle of like, oh yeah, that's that game that I think is kind of like this and this. That's number 30. Way too fucking high. You got both Portals on there. I mentioned Portal 2 being in there. You don't need to duplicate it. It's the same fucking game. Do you really need
Brian,
Portals?
the cake was a lie.
Oh, I hate that game. And then here's 2 things I really did like about it. Is that at least they put Hades on there.
Yep, it's cool seeing that.
I was happy seeing that. I did like seeing Bloodborne being the highest From Software game.
Man, Minecraft in the mid-20s. That is a brave stance.
I think it belongs there. I think anyone that says it doesn't appreciate it. I'm
saying it should be probably lower, probably. Or higher. Whatever you want to take it. Closer to 1, I would say.
Yeah. They did have Street Fighter 2 on here, Jim. But you know what they didn't have?
No MK, Brian? None of them?
No other fighting game, period, including Smash.
Really?
So they gave no fucks about fighting games other than Street Fighter 2. So Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Smash, fuck all yous. Not even a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. No combat whatsoever. So didn't care about that. Not a single wrestling game on the list. Which is fucking insane.
But Brian, Edith Finch.
Exactly.
Firewatch.
They only had 1 Castlevania game on here, and I bet you can guess which one it was.
I saw. Yep, Symphony.
Yep. And once again, I'm only saying like they should have had more because they have so many franchises on here multiple times. And I get if you're putting 1 Castlevania, you almost have to put Symphony. There's not a single Total War game. I know I love that series, but it is renowned for being one of the largest scaled war games. And I don't even care which one you pick. Do Rome. Do Rome 2. Do Medieval 2. Not a single one of those on there. There is not a single sports game on this list.
Wow. Artsy. Fart. Wait, no StarCraft. No StarCraft. Get the fuck out of here.
So no football, not even baseball, basketball, none of it. So no sports, no
American football, no fake football.
No racing titles. The only racing title is Super Mario Kart. And that's the only Mario Kart, which you fucking put you don't if you're going to go the
it's
historic
important,
way,
but it's not fun to play these days.
Well, and that's my point is if you're going to go with historic, just go Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
Like the least fun. Well, no, I'd say Super Mario Kart's the least fun. Mario Kart 64 is the second least fun because everything after that is great because it builds on top of it. Like, that's ridiculous. And like I said, just the fact that like you have repeat, and if I see Grand Theft Auto 4 on one more of these fucking lists,
the game that everyone said was boring.
Yeah, nobody liked, and then they do these retrospects. They're like, but look at the graphics of the grenade blowing up in water. You're like, shut up. Because there's already Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto 5 on the list. Do you
Right,
really
it
need
is
4?
too much goddamn Russia love. That's what that is.
Exactly. I mean, anyone's going to sit here and say that Vice City isn't better than 4 is out their fucking minds. Or even San Andreas. Get out of here.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
I don't know. My issues, so those were some of the big things. Like, once again, we know these lists are nearly impossible to make, but as a standard, don't you think if you had to make a list, Jim, and I think it's silly, I like making lists that are, you can have an end date. Like, if you were to say, what are the best games of 2000, that's a locked year. You can, whatever.
Yeah.
To just say of all time, who knows what's coming out next year? Like, that's, and I get why you do these things. But, like, shouldn't a standard rule be just one game from a franchise?
Yeah, or else you just really shit the whole thing up if you don't do it that way. Because that's why you wind up with, like, especially with biases, that's why you get, like, 4 FromSoft games and 5 Legend of Zeldas.
Yeah.
Do they deserve to be there? Maybe. But still, it makes for a shitty list.
Like, yeah, and you could argue it's really tough. Well, yeah, making a list like this should be. Like, if you yourself had to...
Daddy has a nerd gripe right here.
Go ahead.
So, they say Street Fighter 2, but the picture is clearly from Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Brian.
God damn it, Jim. Don't you dare.
It's got the power-up bar at the bottom, Brian.
I even have an issue the fact that they have Half-Life 2 in the top 10, but then at 52 they put Half-Life. You don't need to put Half-Life when you have Half-Life 2. You just don't. You got fucking Spelunky at number 50.
Yeah, I mean, even if you do that, like, people like their Spelunky, bro.
But at number 50, fuck off.
Go Spelunk.
And you know what?
Better game than the original Super Mario Brothers. Proven.
Apparently. You know what? And here's the deal. Like, I agree that when they put a Call of Duty, they only put Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I'm
fine with that.
But here's the deal. If you go with their logic of put a million things, how do you not put the one with Warzone? How do you not put a different one? Or even 2? Like, at that point...
Because those aren't for real gamers, bro.
I don't know. I
Red Dead Redemption 2 at 15. That's a fucking daring choice. Another game that, like, a lot of people like and a lot of people don't like.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Skyrim's on top 10 is...
Was Skyrim even on the list?
Yeah, it's number 15.
Oh, okay.
Or, I'm sorry, number 16. It had to be beat out by fucking Disco Elysium. And...
Oh, but there's no other Elder Scrolls, though, is there? Mm-mm. I saw that there's Fallout 3. At least
Fallout 3, which is... Yeah, once again, you got to put... Well, there's also New Vegas. So, once again, duplicate effort there. You don't need to put both of those. And you got a couple Elder Scrolls. You got Oblivion on there. I don't know. What I like about lists are you can pull them apart. But, like, honestly, yes, it would be very tough. Like, if I said to you, all right, Jim, you got to pick only one game from every franchise, what is your one Super Mario game you're picking? Do you go with the classic 3 because it's the best on the NES and, like, just an amazing game? Or do you go more modern and say, oh, well, I really did like Odyssey, or do you go in the middle and say 64 because it made them 3D? Like, it is tough, and that is the point. But you just need one Super Mario game to cover it all. I don't know.
Yeah, so, like, at the bottom, they give you a list of everyone that they asked, and it is all over the map. I'll give it that. So, but, like, there's a lot of people from, like, Kinda Funny. Like, why are you asking Kinda Funny about the best games of all time? You have a lot of developers on here, a lot of indie, a lot of AAA people. That's fine. Eurogamer, voice actors, freelance journalists. So, yeah, it's a hodgepodge. I'll give it that.
But seriously, though, from all these people, you don't get one more fighting game. You don't get one single sports game. They don't recognize that arguably one of the things that keeps the video game industry alive is the people that buy Madden, NBA, NHL games year in,
Right, they put
year
Tony
out.
Hawk Pro Skater 2. You got your sports game.
real sports, Jim. X sports is not real sports. That's just a dangerous hobby.
Hater.
Hey,
right, I'm going to get my Jenkos and I will show you wrong.
I'm not saying it's not skillful, but it's the same way. Like, I'm not super skillful at darts. I don't call that a sport. Tell me I'm wrong.
ESPN3 does.
Of course they do. Or the Ocho. But I don't know. It's so tough because especially if you're not going to put in any historical context, like, yeah, you got to put a Pac-Man in there. You got to put, like, they acknowledge Tetris, which I'm at least happy about that. But goddamn, guys, do something.
Yeah, there's like no shoot 'em ups, like you said, like no racing games, no wrestling games, barely any sports games.
I don't even know if there's a single beat 'em up, like a 2D beat 'em up on here.
I don't think there was. There's no Streets of Rage, no Final Fight, none of them. No Turtles, no Toidles.
So, I don't know. And once again, and I do appreciate it would be an impossible list to make because you and I talk about this all the time. If I were to say to you, Jim, what is your favorite X, Y, or Z? Like you just did that thing on Twitter, the 20 favorite songs, like the tracks. That you made that list, that was your personal choice, right?
Right.
If I said, Jim, make a list of your personal favorite versus make a list of the 20 best tracks of all time. Your mindset's going to be completely different. You got to go with like a different. So if you're going to say 100 greatest video games, you don't fucking put Edith Finch on there and goddamn Rez. I'm sorry. You don't put Rez on there.
If you want to put Rez on there and it's a 99, I'm fine with that.
I'm not. No. Just like you don't put The Return of Obra Dinn. Who the fuck's ever played that? Nobody.
How many votes did Edith Finch get to be?
That's my problem. That is my problem. And who voted just to say, I should put that on there to sound like do a you, like when you put stupid shit down. Because you just want to say be different. And you've done it all the time. I do not put
stupid shit. I have taste and class.
No. On this very podcast, when you've been asked questions, you say, well, I could give the normie answer. Or I'll be unique and be like, meh. That's what these assholes did.
Look, Bri. Some people go to good restaurants. Some people go to 7-Eleven. All right? Stop going to 7-Eleven. Get some class. Get some taste.
No, you go to 7-Eleven and you get the rib-flavored meat, and you're like, it's not bad.
I have done that.
I know you have, you son of a bitch. But no, I am a complete, I love me my list, and I could talk about these for days. And what I like the most about is what it sparks as far as conversation. But I mean, there's some criminal accusations, and there's a reason why if you say to anyone what should be in the top 100 list, almost unanimously, even if you like the game or not, you're going to say some kind of Halo. You're going to say Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda, Tetris. There's ones you just got to
Minecraft, World of Warcraft, Fortnite, whatever.
Yeah. You're not looking at these lists because you're looking for a list of 100 super unique games. You're going to say, oh, I'm just curious what order they put whatever in.
Ooh, Bri, you know what? There was no Five Nights at Freddy's, were there?
No. Or Slender Man. Horror games were very missing from this. Resident Evil is the closest. That and Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2, I saw that.
Yeah. But the horror genre, nope. Horror, fighting, racing, wrestling, nope, just barely there. First person shooter,
right.
But they got Fortnite in there so that there's some level of acknowledgement of how big a game is. I don't know.
Right,
Fucking
we were
Tetris effect.
Look, right, it's GQ. You got to expect nothing but class from it. All right.
I don't know. Is there anything else missing from this list that you thought was like, wow?
I mean, it did hit a lot of stuff that should be on there, I guess. But yeah, like you said, no Pac-Man, that's bullshit. There's no shoot 'em ups on there at all.
Yeah.
No, even if you don't like the genre, you almost have to put Space Invaders because it was the biggest arcade game of the late 70s. It was the progenitor of people going to the arcade. So for historical importance alone, that should be on there somewhere.
You talk put that about on there. Shoot 'em ups, fucking Contra, not No, not even a Donkey Kong is on there for platformers.
There was no Donkey Kong even the original arcade either. You want to talk fucking...
Yeah, I mean, it's just... You know what, Jim? One thing, with all the bitching I've done, it did warm my heart that they put Left 4 Dead 2 on there.
I was happy to see that. I will say that.
Yeah, that was nice. But yeah, like I don't know, man. Like that would be very tough. If you were...
But you know what? Back to your point.
Yeah.
So there were 2 The Sims, but they didn't have any Sim City on there, did they? Like, they had Civilization, I know that, but...
Nope, no Sim City. So, yeah, which is... That's a little bit of a craziness. Like...
No Sanic? No Sanic on there?
God damn it, Jim. I don't know.
Right, this list does a lot of things, but don't got to go fast.
You're right, it doesn't have to go fast. And yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Like... How can you make a list like this and not factor in so much historical shit?
I would rather see, like, as much as I don't like Sonic Adventure, I would rather see that on here than like half the shit on the list. Because I'd be like, yeah, all right, there's Sonic, good, fine.
It makes sense. They did that acknowledgement with games like they put Shenmue on here. My point being, like, okay, it makes sense, but you don't even have Marvel versus Capcom 2.
Yeah, really. Going back to your point earlier about, like, an unbalanced game that's just fun.
I don't get it. Like, I don't know. It begs the question, if you did have to redo this list and only pick one from every franchise, I think the list would become much easier to make.
Well, yes and no. It'll be harder in a way, too, because these fucks, they just all dumped FromSoft and Nintendo on there.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, the tough part would be, like, which Fallout do you do? And then me and you would argue you would probably go New Vegas because it's your favorite. I would say 3 because it revolutionized it. Like, there'd be arguments like that, but then you'd get down to some you and I have no experience in, which is, like, which Final Fantasy do you put out there? Do you just do 7? Do you do 10? Like...
Do you do 3, 7, or 10, or a 6, 7, or 10? Like, those are the ones to do.
You know, you put Half-Life 2, so you don't have to put Half-Life 1.
It's weird to see, like, Half-Life 1 and the Half-Life 2, but, like, not like Counter-Strike, which, like, came from Half-Life.
Makes zero sense. But like I said, I love lists like this, so, you know.
It gets you talking, gets you noodle scratching, but it's also like, what?
It's frustrating. It's one of those ones where you just go, why? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, links will be below. Check it out for yourself and just go, huh?
But, Chambers, how did those Keystones treat you tonight?
Bri, they do their job. They numb the pain.
Old Faithful?
They numb the pain a little.
Yeah,
I get to wake up, go back to the horrifying pain of everyday life. But for right now, I can enjoy my Blue Boys, Brian.
Well, I really enjoyed the double nickel, Jim. When I see you, I'll have some for you to try yourself. What I like is the malt is very heavy, but what I've noticed with a lot of Oktoberfest beers is after you drink a lot of malt heavy beers, you almost get that flavor of, I want to call it like stale pretzels in your mouth. Like,
yes.
It's the breadiness. This one I haven't noticed. I still just have that like lingering of sugar. So goes down real smooth. And I said it's only 5.6%, which is on the higher end for Oktoberfest beers.
Yeah, they're normally not that high.
Definitely good. If you ever get a chance, try it out. I'll probably add it to my list of all 30 other Oktoberfest beers I've rated on our site. But with that, we want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see when we release all of our latest videos. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, as Jim said, hit the subscribe button. And if you give us a 5-star rating, we will read each and every one of those comments on our next Power Hour podcast. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.